You know what the real killer of dreams is. It's not failure, it's not rejection, it's not even fear, it's laziness. Laziness is that soft, seductive voice that tells you to snooze 5 more minutes. It's the invisible weight that pulls you down when you should be getting up. It's the excuse machine in your mind that whispers, not today, maybe tomorrow. And the worst part, you start to believe it. We live in a time where everything is built for comfort. Everything around you is designed to make life easier, smoother, faster. And yet, despite all that, people are still tired, drained, numb. Why? Because laziness doesn't come from the body. It comes from a mind that's forgotten how powerful it really is. Laziness is the silent killer of potential. It doesn't shout. It doesn't make a scene. It creeps in quietly, slowly, disguised as comfort, disguised as rest, disguised as just one more hour. And before you even notice it, it's taken root. It begins to wrap itself around your habits, your routines, your intentions. You wake up one day, and the dreams you once had are covered in dust because you've been sleepwalking through your own life. Laziness is clever. It convinces you that you're not ready yet, that conditions aren't perfect, that tomorrow will be better. But potential doesn't live in tomorrow. It lives in the decisions you make right now. Every single person is born with potential, but potential is not a guarantee. It's not a gift that automatically turns into achievement. It's only the possibility of greatness, what you do with it, how you water it, how you build on it, how you fight for it. That's what determines who you become, and laziness is the force that blocks all of that. It stops the first step. It silences the voice inside that says go. It's the hand that pulls you back when your future is trying to push you forward. Laziness doesn't come with alarms. It doesn't trigger any warnings. It just quietly delays, quietly distracts, quietly steals. It's patient, and that's what makes it so dangerous. When you give in to laziness once, it becomes easier to do it again. One skipped morning, one missed opportunity, one excuse, one delay, and then it becomes a pattern. Then it becomes who you are. The problem isn't that you didn't know what to do. The problem is that you didn't do it. That's how potential dies. Not with a crash, but with a shrug. With a scroll through your phone, with I'll start tomorrow. The world is filled with people who could have been great, who could have created, who could have built, who had the talent, the ideas, the energy. But they let it slip. They didn't fight hard enough. They didn't push when it got uncomfortable. They listened to that voice that said, take it easy, and they paid for it with their future. Your potential is like a fire, and laziness is water. Every time you hesitate, every time you delay action, every time you let yourself coast, you're pouring water on the flame. Eventually it goes out, and when it does, you don't just lose an idea or an opportunity. You lose a part of yourself. The part that believed in something bigger, the part that was ready to work, the part that once said, I can do this. And once that part is gone, it's very hard to bring it back. That's why you have to act now. Not tomorrow, not next week, because laziness waits for you every day, and it never stops offering the easy path. People don't fall short because they're weak. They fall short because they allow laziness to make decisions for them. They allow their bodies to sit when they should stand, their minds to wander when they should focus, their hearts to rest when they should burn. Potential has a price, and that price is discipline. That price is discomfort. That price is showing up again and again, especially when you don't feel like it. If you're not willing to pay that price, someone else will, and they'll live the life you could have had, not because they were better, but because they were more consistent, more committed, more willing to fight through the days when laziness tried to take over. Laziness will never announce its intentions. It won't tell you it's here to rob you. It just quietly settles in and waits for you to do nothing. And if you do nothing long enough, it wins. It wins not with force, but with silence. And what it leaves behind is not pain or scars. It leaves behind emptiness, regret. The question of what you could have done, if only you had moved, if only you had tried, if only you had refused to let the day slip by comfort, is the enemy of growth. It may feel good in the moment, but it does nothing for your future. It's seductive, it's warm, it's easy. But it keeps you still. It keeps you exactly where you are. Growth demands pressure. Growth demands friction. It demands discomfort. When you're too comfortable, you stop reaching. You stop stretching. You stop becoming, because comfort tells you that where you are is good enough. It convinces you that the hard work isn't worth it, that you don't need to try harder, that you can just relax and everything will work itself out. But nothing great ever came from someone who stayed comfortable. Everything that has value was born in discomfort. Muscles don't grow unless they're broken down. Ideas don't evolve unless they're challenged. Skills don't sharpen unless they're tested. Discomfort is the forge. It's the place where raw material becomes something strong, something sharp, something useful. When you run from discomfort, you're running from the very thing that can transform you. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they back away the moment things get difficult, the moment the pain starts, the moment the path stops being smooth. But that moment is where the real change begins. People spend so much time trying to design a life of ease. They want fewer problems, fewer obstacles, fewer complications, but growth lives inside those very things. Comfort zones are built to keep you safe, not strong. And safety is not the same as success. Safety can keep you alive, but it cannot make you thrive. Every time you choose the easier road, you miss a lesson. Every time you avoid discomfort, you delay your evolution. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who lean into the difficulty, who walk toward the challenge, who seek out the edge because they know that's where transformation happens. The trap of comfort is that it feels like progress. It feels like peace, but it's really just stillness in disguise. It's time slipping through your hands. It's opportunities passing you by while you wait for the perfect moment, the right energy, the easier path. Comfort asks nothing from you. It lets you stay the same, but growth demands sacrifice. It demands sweat. It demands that you show up tired, that you keep going when you're unsure, that you trust yourself enough to take the next step, even when you can't see the entire road. The best version of you is not found in comfort. It's found in the stretch, in the strain, in the parts of life that test your limits and push you to expand them. Look at anyone who has done something meaningful. They all had to suffer a little. They had to risk. They had to let go of the soft life and choose the harder way, because the harder way is the one that forces you to become more. Comfort tells you to protect what you have. Growth tells you to reach for what you could have. The world will always offer you comfort. It will always offer you a chair instead of a challenge, a distraction instead of discipline, an escape instead of effort. And it's up to you to decide whether you want to stay in that soft bubble or step into the world where change is made. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to feel good all the time. That's the point. That's how you know it's working. If it's heavy, it's shaping you. If it's hard, it's building you. If it hurts, it's molding something new in you. The ones who rise are the ones who don't just endure discomfort. They invite it. They understand that comfort is not their friend, it is their limit, and they were not made to live limited. Your future depends on what you do when no one is watching. It's not built in front of crowds. It's not crafted in applause or shaped by praise. It's forged in the quiet moments, in the silence of early mornings and late nights, when it's just you, your work, and your choices. This is where character is built. This is where resilience is formed, because it's easy to show up when others are cheering. It's easy to act driven when someone's keeping score. But real greatness comes from what you're willing to do when the lights are off, when there's no recognition, when there's no one to impress. But your self-discipline is not about performance. It's about consistency. The most successful people in the world don't wait for permission to act. They don't wait for motivation or inspiration. They have trained themselves to act regardless of the mood, because they understand that the world only sees the result, not the reps it took to get there. And those reps are often invisible. The hours of reading, of thinking, of building, of failing and repeating. That's what the future is made from. Not sudden breakthroughs, not lucky moments. But years of invisible effort, the ones who rise, are the ones who keep moving even when it feels like no one cares. Because they know that every day they delay action is a day lost. They know the compound effect of consistency is real. 1 hour today may seem like nothing, but stack that over years and it becomes mastery. And mastery is never built in the spotlight. It's built in silence. When you show up when it's hard, when you show up when it's boring, when you show up when it feels pointless, that's when you separate yourself from the crowd. Your future is a reflection of your standards. And those standards are revealed by what you do in private. If you cut corners when no one's watching, you train yourself to be weak. If you let yourself off the hook every time something gets uncomfortable, you're building a habit of quitting. And quitting doesn't just happen in big moments. It happens in the tiny daily decisions, skipping the workout, avoiding the tough conversation, delaying the project. These choices accumulate, and soon they define who you are and what you're capable of becoming. It's tempting to wait for validation, to wait until someone notices your effort. But the truth is, no one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to hand you success, and no one will ever care as much about your dream as you do. That means you have to be your own coach, your own motivator, your own accountability. You have to be willing to grind in the dark, to give full effort when there's no audience, to chase excellence because that's who you are, not because someone is watching. The real difference between those who make it and those who don't is found in how they treat the invisible moments. The ones who succeed act as if someone is always watching, not for approval, but for integrity. They understand that how you do anything is how you do everything, that even the smallest task deserves full attention, that every action you take is either building your future or stealing from it. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And habits are built when no one's looking. So many people want the results without the process. They want the reward without the repetition. But success doesn't work that way. The process is the path. The discipline, the quiet work, the lonely hours. That's where the real you is created. The version of you that can handle pressure, that can lead, that can endure. That version is earned, not given. And it's earned when there's no spotlight, when it's just you and the decision to either rise or stay the same. Discipline must replace motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a breeze, rising when things are exciting and disappearing the moment resistance shows up. People often wait for motivation to strike before they begin. They wait to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel energized. But the truth is, those feelings are unreliable. They are emotional sparks, not steady fuel. If you build your life on motivation, you'll only act when it's convenient. You'll only move when things feel good. You'll only commit when the conditions are perfect. And that's not how progress works. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision. It's a system you build, not a feeling you chase. It doesn't rely on mood. It doesn't care if you're tired or frustrated or uninspired. It just shows up every single day. Discipline is about training yourself to act regardless of how you feel. It's about doing the work when it's hard. When it's boring, when it's the last thing you want to do, that's where growth happens. That's where separation begins, because most people won't. They'll wait, they'll pause, they'll make excuses, but the disciplined few will push forward anyway. The world constantly rewards the disciplined. Not the most talented, not the most gifted, the ones who can keep showing up. The ones who keep putting in the effort long after the novelty has worn off. Discipline is the grind behind the scenes. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifice, the repetition. It's saying no to distractions, no to comfort, no to shortcuts, because you've chosen a higher standard, because you've decided that long-term fulfillment matters more than short-term pleasure. People confuse motivation with momentum. They think they need to feel inspired to take action, but the truth is, action creates motivation. The smallest movement forward, the tiniest act of progress, builds momentum, and that momentum fuels motivation. But none of that begins until you make a disciplined choice, the choice to show up before the inspiration comes, The choice to get to work, even when everything inside you is telling you to quit discipline, is built in the moments when you don't want to do the work. It's forged in resistance. Every time you choose action over comfort, you strengthen your discipline. It becomes a muscle. It becomes instinct. You no longer need to argue with yourself about whether or not you'll do it. You just do it because that's who you are now. That's the identity you've created. And that identity is far more powerful than any fleeting burst of motivation. Motivation can be a spark, but it can never be the fire. The fire is discipline. The fire is built from habits, from structure, from commitment. It's knowing that you'll follow through even on your worst days. It's showing up, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. And in a world full of talkers and dreamers, the disciplined doers always rise above. They're the ones who deliver. They're the ones who win. The disciplined understand that every choice is a vote for the future. Every day is a chance to prove that the mission is stronger than the mood, that the goal is bigger than the excuse. Discipline doesn't need applause. It doesn't seek recognition. It just works quietly. Consistently, relentlessly, and over time, that work compounds. It builds trust in yourself. It builds confidence. It builds a life that is aligned with who you say you want to be. Waiting on motivation is a gamble. It's giving your power to something you can't control. Discipline takes that power back. It puts the responsibility in your hands. It gives you the ability to choose your actions, to own your time, to build your future deliberately. It's the foundation under every strong life, the invisible structure behind every meaningful success, and once you commit to it, everything changes. Laziness lies to you. Don't negotiate with it. It never shows up looking like a threat. It wears the mask of rest, the mask of ease, the mask of just 5 more minutes. It tells you that you've done enough for today, that tomorrow will be a better time to start, that it's okay to delay the hard things just a little longer. But behind every one of those whispers is a trap. Laziness isn't just about being tired or needing a break. It's a mindset that grows every time you give it space. The moment you start listening to it, reasoning with it, giving it even the smallest victory, it starts to own more of you. It knows your weaknesses. It knows how to justify itself. It will remind you of how hard you worked yesterday. It will convince you that you're preserving energy, that you're being smart, that pushing too hard isn't worth it. It speaks in comfort. It speaks in excuses, and the most dangerous part is, it sounds reasonable. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It pretends to care, but it doesn't. It cares about keeping you small. It cares about keeping you safe, not successful. And it will trade your potential for your comfort without blinking every time you hesitate, every time you choose the couch over the gym, the scroll over the study, the excuse over the execution. Laziness wins a point. And those points stack fast. One moment turns into a habit. A habit turns into a lifestyle. A lifestyle becomes an identity. And suddenly, you're looking in the mirror wondering where your drive went. Wondering why you feel stuck. Wondering how you got so far from where you wanted to be. The truth is, it didn't happen in one decision. It happened in hundreds of small negotiations. You can't win that way. You can't argue with laziness and expect to come out ahead. The moment you start talking to it, you've already lost. You don't reason with lies. You shut them down. You don't give them a seat at the table. You push through the fog. You get up. You move. You act. Even if you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's the difference between those who build and those who drift. The ones who build have made it non-negotiable. The workout, the writing, the business, the growth. It's not a question. It's a standard. Laziness thrives in indecision. It lives in the space between intention and action. The longer you wait to move, the louder it gets. The more you think about it, the more convincing it becomes. That's why speed matters. That's why execution matters. That's why having a structure matters. You need systems in place that override your emotions. You need a schedule that doesn't ask for your opinion every morning. You need goals that scare you enough to keep you sharp, but inspire you enough to keep you going. The voice of laziness will never leave completely. But it gets quieter the more you ignore it, the more you act without consulting it, the more you prove to yourself that you're in charge, that your mission matters more than your mood, that your future is worth more than your momentary comfort. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about building a track record of discipline, of effort, of grit, the kind that compounds into pride, into progress, into power. Once you realize that laziness doesn't deserve your attention, you stop playing its games. You stop giving it time to speak. You move, you do the work. You shut the door on the excuses, not because you feel like it, but because you're done being manipulated by comfort disguised as care. You see through it now. You know what it costs. You know what it steals. And you're no longer available for it. Daily action is the antidote to a wasted life. Not big dreams, not perfect plans, not endless motivation videos. Action, consistent, focused, unapologetic, is what separates the people who talk from the people who build. It doesn't matter what you say you want. It matters what you do about it every single day. Most people live stuck in ideas. They live in a loop of wanting more, wishing for change, waiting for the right moment. But life doesn't bend to wishes. It responds to effort. The smallest consistent step forward will always beat the grand vision that never gets executed. Dreams die in delay. Not because they weren't possible, but because they were never pursued with urgency. The future isn't built in bulk. It's built in bricks. One action, one choice, one hard decision at a time. When you repeat that long enough, it becomes your life. Every day you wake up and act. You're voting for the kind of person you want to become. You're shaping identity, not just progress. It's less about the outcome and more about who you're becoming in the process. And the truth is, the people who do something every day, even when they're tired, even when they're unsure, always get further than those who wait to feel ready. Your goals are not waiting to be discovered. They're waiting to be built. That book you want to write, that business you want to start, that health you want to achieve, it's all sitting on the other side of your daily discipline. Every excuse is just a delay. Every skipped day is a step backward. Every time you choose distraction over direction, you reinforce the identity of someone who breaks promises to themselves. And that's the most dangerous pattern of all. Because when you stop trusting yourself to follow through, you stop trying altogether. Daily action gives you leverage over your doubts. It gives you momentum, and momentum is rare and powerful. It builds confidence in layers. It's not magic, it's not talent, it's earned effort. Every time you show up, even in small ways, you remind yourself that you're a builder, not just a dreamer. Most people quit not because the work was too hard, but because the results were too slow. But daily action changes your relationship with results. You stop obsessing over instant success and start falling in love with movement itself. Progress isn't always loud. Most of the time, it's quiet. Unseen, uncelebrated. It looks like sitting down when everyone else is out. It looks like doing the reps when no one claps. It looks like staying focused when your phone is calling you to escape. That's the difference. The ones who win are not the ones who move the fastest. They're the ones who refuse to stop moving. They're not always inspired. They're not always confident, but they are always consistent. And consistency beats intensity every time. You don't need to know every step. You don't need the perfect strategy. You just need to move. Clarity comes from motion. Strength comes from repetition. And success comes from discipline stacked day after day. What you do today matters more than what you say you'll do tomorrow. Your daily habits are a direct reflection of your future. You can't escape the work. You can only delay it, and every delay has a cost. Every missed day is a missed opportunity to become sharper, faster, better. Daily action also kills fear. Fear grows in stillness, in inaction, in waiting, but when you act, when you face the thing you're avoiding, fear shrinks. The mind becomes stronger, doubt gets replaced with evidence. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about refusing to let laziness or fear write your story. One step at a time, one focused hour, one honest push through resistance. That's how momentum is built. That's how change happens. That's how you take control of your life and finally move forward.